Sometimes, in order to make peace, you have to make war. I've been spending some time in Matthew 5 lately and reading through the Beatitudes, and one verse keeps grabbing me. Jesus said in verse 9, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God." I think that's one of the most misunderstood verses in this entire passage, because somewhere along the way we've turned it into be nice, keep the peace, don't rock the boat. But Jesus wasn't talking about keeping the peace, he was talking about making it. A peacekeeper avoids conflict and protects their own comfort at all costs. But a peacemaker confronts what's broken and works to restore it. One keeps things calm, the other makes things right. And sometimes, in order to make peace, you have to make war. Of course, not with people per se, but with pride, fear, apathy, compromise, and lies. Those are the things that destroy peace at the source. The Greek word for peacemakers comes from two different words. One is peace, of course, and the other is to make. Peace doesn't simply mean the absence of fighting. It comes from a root word meaning to join together what has been separated. It speaks to restoration, wholeness, harmony, the mending of what's been torn apart. The second, to make, to produce, or to bring forth, is not a passive word. It's active. It's creation language. When you put the two together, a peacemaker is someone who takes what's broken and divided and labors to join it back together. It's the person who steps into brokenness and becomes an instrument of healing. That's what God did for us. Colossians 1 says Jesus made peace through the blood of his cross. He didn't keep the peace with sin. No, he confronted it head on. He made war against sin. And that's how he made peace. And that's the pattern for us as sons of God. Before we can bring peace to our world, though, we have to surrender to God, and he makes peace within us. That's where the real war begins, is in our hearts. But once that internal battle is won, we fight outward for our marriages, for our families, our church, our communities, and for truth. Real men don't just keep the peace, they fight for it. They lead their families to worship. They build unity instead of spreading criticism. They step into brokenness and bring restoration. When Jesus taught us to pray, think about this. He said, "Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven." That is not a passive prayer. That's a declaration of war against everything that resists God's rule and reign. Peacekeeping might keep things polite, but it rarely changes anything. Peacemaking, though, has the opportunity and ability to change everything. Because true peace is forged through surrender, tested by obedience, and proven in action. So maybe the question isn't whether you want peace. Maybe the question is, what kind of peace are you willing to fight for? Because sometimes, to make it, you have to make war.